On one of my typical projects, I will show you guys everything you need to know about cabinet refinishing process. Different techniques, materials, prices, and everything you need to know whether you're a professional cabinet refinisher or one of the homeowners looking to get your outdated cabinets look brand new.
Welcome to the job site. Come on in. Probably 10-15-year-old kitchen. Some of the finish is failing, which I'm gonna show you in a second. It is reddish, brownish color. We're gonna make everything look brand new. We're gonna go with white main kitchen and the island's gonna go black. We already finished all of the doors, all of the drawer fronts, everything is finished. And now we're here on site to do the body, to do the boxes. We're ready to spray our primer, our isolating first coat, and then followed by the top coats.
All right, so there is three main things or categories that usually determine the price and the timing of your refinishing project. The first one is materials. Second, techniques and methods. And the third one is quality of workmanship and the level of attention to the details. First things first, materials. We have three different categories of materials that are commonly used for cabinet refinishing. And here they are. I'll start from the very bottom in terms of quality and price, and that is regular architectural coatings, aka wall paints or trim enamel, semi-gloss paint, you name it. Some do-it-yourself enthusiasts or hobbyists actually use this stuff to refinish cabinets. And despite the fact that it's not professional at all, and to me it sounds the same as painting your car using a roller and a brush and the wall paint, some people still go for it, and that's why I thought I would cover this, just so I don't miss any of the types of coatings. Second category is high quality trim paint, enamels, urethane enamels, and traditional coatings, which are pre-catalyzed lacquers and conversion varnish. I'll talk very briefly about both of those worlds. The first one is high quality urethanes and trim enamels. Those are relatively user-friendly in terms of health-related issues. They are usually waterborne, so you can spray them without any special air-fed respirators or anything like that. So those are user-friendly, but they won't give you ultimate durability, chemical resistance, basically just a good look until you actually start scratching it, touching it. Then your cabinets will most likely look like a mess, and probably you're gonna regret it. And the second part of this category is traditional coatings. We have pre-catalyzed lacquers, solvent-based and water-based. We have post-catalyzed lacquers. We also have conversion varnish. And what these guys are, in most cases, these are formaldehyde acid cured coatings, which means, you're gonna get a really durable finish. I mean, it's gonna feel and look just really nice, really nice. But those are known for its formaldehyde off-gassing, which is known for causing cancer. So health-related issues are here, even though it passes all the, government standards and regulations. But the fact of the matter is, a vast majority of households in North America have one of these types of coatings on their cabinets.
And here's one thing that I wanted to show you guys why quality top coat is super important. This finish is pre-catalyzed lacquer, which was used by the builder 15 years ago or whatever. It's a single component lacquer, very thin and not super chemical resistant finish. And this is what we have. This is most likely water damage, and just scratched up and the finish is failing. I can even get some of it with my finger, as you can see. So what we use to refinish and on all of our new kitchens is a 2-component polyurethane, which is...
Okay, we're moving into the third category, which is the ultimate durability and no health-related issues for the end user, and these are plural component polyurethanes. So these guys are very popular in Europe, but they're not as popular in North America yet, but they're becoming more and more accessible and thus more popular. What are they? So these are 2-component polyurethanes. This is like most common stuff, the 2-component polyurethane paint and clear coat. So it is a very durable finish, chemical resistant, super chemical resistant. It is very durable, more resistant, really good UV resistance as well, and no formaldehyde off-gassing whatsoever. So once the coating is dry and cured, there is nothing releasing off the surface, which means no health concerns whatsoever. There is one thing though that I would need to mention, which is health related issues for the sprayer. So when we spray them, the spray technicians, we absolutely need to have the PPE, the proper air supplied respirator, coveralls, the spray suit, gloves, and everything else, just because when we spray it, we need to be protected. But for the end user, for the homeowner, this is way better than the traditional coatings, which are again known for the formaldehyde off-gassing, which causes cancer. So this is it for the material part. We're moving on to the techniques and methods. All right, so this is a big one. We have cleaning, sanding, and the proper thickness of our top coat. All of these three, and there's a few more other ones, less significant ones, but all of these three are the main pillars, and skipping or cutting corners on one of these three stages can result in chipping, peeling, even flaking off the dry paint. So when we clean, we need to clean everything really, really thoroughly. Everything, every single square inch of the surface, just because kitchen cabinet refinishing is a completely different animal. This is a kitchen where the good stuff is happening, right? The food, all of these household, fats and oils are there. So we gotta make sure that we have a very clean surface before we get to sanding. Sanding, it's huge, super important. We need that rough surface to create the bond of our bonding agent, of the isolante, of the isolating coat or the primer. Without that, we can again have peeling, flaking off or chipping of our new top coat. And then the top coat is important as well. Failing to achieving the recommended film thickness can result in peeling. When we achieve the right color, we go, okay, well, this is good enough. No, this is not good enough. What we need to do, we need to measure the wet film thickness with a special tool, and we need to make sure that we have enough material on the surface and we do not exceed the recommended film thickness, so it doesn't crack or it basically performs the way it should be. So thus the proper film thickness needs to be in place as well. To summarize this second section, the more prep we have and the better we do them, the better results and the less risk of failures we're gonna get in the end. All right, we're moving to the third and last section, which is quality of workmanship and the level of attention to details. Guys, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but it is extremely important. We have some sketchy dudes that really don't care about the quality, they care about margins. What they do is they don't really protect the floors, the ceilings, they don't build really tight zip walls to protect the rest of the house from overspray and fumes and stuff like that. And each and every box, you guys can see everything sealed really, 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 really good. I mean, there's going to be no one particle of dust or overspray going inside the boxes. So everything is protected, very well protected. All the walls are protected. We always run that low adhesion tape first, which is the light green color tape, and then we go over top with the sticky tape. That way we protect the walls really nicely, and we don't peel any paint when we're done. So what else can I show you guys? We protect all the lights, obviously, and we protect all the windows, backsplash. Everything is protected. We're not going to put anything on top of this one, so this is all safe. And this white melamine is all protected. The lights, the branch hood, the ceiling, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the ceiling is all protected around the areas where we spray. I feel safe to pull the trigger. 2-component isolator. We have 2 huge fans right there. They're gonna help us to get rid of all the fumes in this area. The rest of the house, by the way, is all sealed. Like, there's gonna be no fumes going into the other parts of the house. So it's all very well protected. We're gonna close this door, which is already sealed and wrapped in plastic. So there will be nothing, absolutely nothing coming out of the spray booth area. And I'm gonna turn on those 2 fans, which will filtrate the air through these filters right there. And we have a nice airflow going from this part of the house to the outside. So this is what we have going on. Nikki and Michael
will definitely be happy with our brand new finished kitchen. It's going to be exciting.
And another huge part of this section, this third and last section, is social proof. It's super hard to judge whether, your guy, your cabinet refinisher is a good one or not. This is a number one job of a client, to do their homework and to really check, double check, triple check their reputation and what kind of work these guys do before hiring somebody. If it turns into a disaster, you're not going to be only dealing with the money that you paid up front, if you did, but also you're going to have to do something with your kitchen that is already a mess. So always do your research prior to hiring somebody. Thankfully, we have social media. We can easily Google that name of that company or person and we'll have a ton of results. Very often, the good guys have nothing to hide and they are willing to share of what they do, how they do it, and you're gonna have a lot of great reviews on their social media pages and on Google listings and stuff like that. Everything starts from the first initial contact with our prospect, so we get a message or a call. I always ask for some pictures of the cabinets just to see whether or not we'll be able to help. And I also provide some rough pricing based on the pictures that I see. And here's a quick rundown and a kind of quick sketch on pricing. Here's how much it costs to refinish an average kitchen. Let's say we're painting the kitchen white, which is a very popular thing to do right now. It costs within $3,500 to $5,000 US, and this is 3 or even 5 times less than replacing your cabinets with the new ones. But not only that, there is no mess and extensive renovation process that comes along with the replacing of the entire kitchen. But this is how much it costs to refinish cabinets in average. Obviously, the final price will depend on a few separate factors, but I have a separate video on that. I'll click it somewhere around this video. Have a look, check out that video after you watch this one till the end. So next thing that I do is I always send my prospect some links to my social media, especially YouTube, because I show everything of what we do and how we do it, just so people know about all this good stuff. And I try to talk about everything because first, I have nothing to hide, and I am super proud of what I do and how I do it. And I'm trying to lead by example and hopefully make some impact and show a good example to the younger finishers out there. After that, if my prospective client is okay with the pricing and The processes, after getting to know what we do and how we do it, we book an in-house, in-person consultation where we go over all of the details, and also I give an exact estimate, and then we schedule the start date. And here's where the process begins. I usually come out to the house and take all of the doors with me, and then we refinish them in the shop. That usually takes about 1 week, depending on the size of the job, but in average it's 5 business days. And then once the doors are done, we go out and refinish the cabinet boxes on site, which usually takes 2 to 3 business days. And we put the doors back up, and then we hand off the kitchen back to our homeowners. Everybody's happy. We take some final pictures and then move on to the next project. Now you guys know everything that I know about cabinet refinishing process. If you still have any questions, please drop them down below in the comment section. But with that being said, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.